Hey guys, Taylor GammaEdge here coming at you with a market recap for May 27th, 2025. So today, right, was a gap and go day. Constructed to see if you're a bull because, effectively it's sustained buying throughout the session. However, something that I want to cover today is, for a lot of the day that I was moving, I missed our pre-market routine, all that good stuff. So I finally got to the desk around, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I just want to show you how I got quickly situated in terms of key levels and where we were currently trading using our tools. And then that ultimately helped me catch this trade from 5,900 to 5,920. Right. And effectively, when that trade presented itself, I was able to set my stop loss, I was able to set my profit target, and I could step away from the computer. And so with that, let's get into it. Right. So the first place that I always look is the market trend model. Why? Because that just quickly gives me a gauge of trend and momentum in the market on an intraday basis. Coming into today, when I got to the desk around 11 o'clock, we could see that was the early stages of where we were seeing, buying pressure starting to come into the market. And then, just looking at the full picture, because I have it up, we saw that sustained filter tick buying all day, which is that large, significant buying and selling is what this gauges, and then right, the cumulative tick was just a key linear update as well above the railroad track. So net, very constructive day from that point of view. So, when I start to see this formula around 11 o'clock, when I get there, it's like, okay, buyers likely are in control on an intraday basis. So I'm going to be looking for long trades. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the SPX game plan 0DT dashboard. I'm going to see what those key levels are that I need to be aware of. Right, and so within the Discord, SPX game plan, we have a very robust write-up that we do every single day. We go over the market trend model, we go over the full complex of SPXA, SPXP, and then we really drill down into the 0DT complex. And so, right, just quickly looking at this, the two things that I quickly lasered in on that Paul also discussed in the write-up is 5,900, massive significant strike in the complex, and then the top of the drunken sailor zone, which was 5,920. So those were the key levels of reference for myself. Right, and these levels were known well beforehand. Our data updated at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning. So that's why we were able to telegraph these levels for you guys early in the morning every single day. But anyways, right, market trending higher via the market trend model, key levels 5,900, 5,920. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the vol M chart, right? This is our intraday volume analysis. Specific to SPX 0DT, we're looking at the call and the put volume throughout the session. The reason for that is because it gives us kind of an overall sentiment of how the participants are transacting on the day. That is, from the call side, are we transacting higher, flat, or lower on the day? Same thing to the put side. And by understanding that, we can understand character price action, and we can also kind of infer, all things equal, where those centroids are likely to head throughout the rest of the session, and if we know that price follows centroids or where transactions are occurring. And so, right, we've already been over market trend model was strong. 5,900 was the first key level, then 5,820. So we can see here right at 1105, the call side, starting to trend higher. We're getting that centroid activity well above 5,900. So, I'm comfortable at this point in time looking for a trade through 5,900. Obviously, I'm not really one to buy breakouts at the high of day. However, we know that we have a solid level overhead of 5,920 that I can size my risk for, and 5,900 is a good level to risk against. And then the market trend model is starting to pick up strength as well. So that's a good risk to reward bet from my point of view. Right. And then from there, it's just simple execution. Just from my style of trading, I trade futures, directional futures we have other folks that, in the community that are paying, selling options, looking for, more understanding where the market is not going to go and kind of selling options around that point of view. Both of those strategies, actually, believe it or not, presented itself today. I'm going to talk about the futures directional trade real quick, then we can get into that kind of stagnant trade per se with the selling options or, selling butterflies or all that good stuff in a second. So yeah, right, got this nice consolidation right around 5,900 again, sizing the risk right here. And then obviously the target was up to 5,920. This trade really worked right away. I don't think in the red at all throughout the duration of this trade, which, my best trade, that's exactly how it happens. We get that initial push higher from my entry, then away we go. And that's exactly what just happened on this trade. So, there's really not much else to it. And you're right, momentum was on my side from what I could see. Key levels were on my side. So really it's just letting the trade work from there. Right, and then just looking at kind of the full daily picture of vol M, we can see, from the time I took the trade, which was, right in this area per se, vol M was ticking up ever so slightly. It was not a super aggressive high day or kind of ramping day higher day. That's why 59.20 made sense because I wanted the risk to reward to make sense, right? Like 3-1, 5-1, that's what I'm looking for. And it was still a reasonable upside target, but we weren't seeing like a massive thrust higher in the vol end. But we did see that in the market trend model. So, that gave me confidence that getting long was still the right move. And then right again, once we got up to 59.20, that's the top of our drunken sailor range. From there, what we want to see is a massive thrust, kind of breath thrust higher in the call centroid. That's what we need to get above that significant strike in the level. We did not get that. Therefore, seeing kind of choppy pullback action from 59.20 made sense. I know we had folks selling above once we got to 59.20. Butterflies were put on, all that good stuff. So again, that's the way that you can take a directional trade, but then you can also take a directionless trade. And kind of understanding. It's great to know where the market's going, but it's even more beneficial to know where the market is not going because you can make a lot of money that way too. And so our tools kind of allow you to do both of those things. And so with that, just recapping the market trend model, looking strong right now, exactly what you want to see if you're a swing trader. So, the environment is fairly constructive right now from that point of view. Obviously, intraday trading can change day to day just based on the structures. We're going to wake up 6:30 again tomorrow, see how the levels look. But yeah, overall, great recovery from SPX for a little bit of sell-off last week. And, take it one day at a time and see where we go, see if we can get some more good trades this week. So with that, you guys have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.